Hey guys, welcome back into a video. So Microsoft Satya Nadella, who runs the company, he has actually responded to the whole talk around the Activision acquisition when there was Sony was saying it's anti-competitive, blah 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 blah. You kind of get the idea of how Sony's been bitching about it because they'll most likely lose market share. So it'll be tough for them to do the money hats and all that. That's what it's really about. But anyway, let's see what he had to say. Microsoft Corp Chief Executive Officer Satya Nadella said he's confident the company can gain regulatory approval for its $69 billion purchase of Activision Blizzard, even in the face of an in-depth regulatory probe in the UK. Of course, any Activision deciders will go through scrutiny. I would hope so, but we feel very, very confident that we'll come out on top. He said in an interview with Bloomberg Television. Nadella's prediction puts him at odds with investor skepticism about the deal. While Activision rose Thursday, outperforming a slump in tech stock, Wednesday's close still left the company more than 20% below the offer price, a signal of massive doubt that Microsoft will ever be able to consummate the transaction. Microsoft is either number 4 or number 5 in the competitor in the video game industry, depending on how you count. And the number 1 player, Sony, has made several recent acquisitions like Bungie, Housemarque, Nix's, so on and so forth. So if this is about competition, let us have it. The UK's Competition Markets Authority said, aka the CMA, said earlier this month that it decided to kickstart a longer review, a move that was expected after the CMA flagged concerns that the deal could lessen competition in the market for console subscriptions and cloud gaming. The combination of Activision, which owns franchises like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Guitar Hero, would make Microsoft the third largest gaming company. What Bloomberg meant by that is, there's the top three, Tencent, Sony, and Microsoft. So after this acquisition, should it go through, Microsoft would just barely be behind Sony in terms of gaming revenue that generates from their gaming division. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is the biggest Microsoft acquisition ever. So with those fighting words by Satya, that is a direct shot at Sony essentially tell them to grow some balls and man up and actually compete. That's what you fanboys wanted Microsoft to do for years. But no, it's not like this. That's the new narrative they'll say. Because how about they create their own service? Did Sony create Insomniac, Housemarque, Nix's, Naughty Dog? Like, what studios did Sony create? A fun fact about that is because Sony actually got into the industry by buying a publisher. I think Psychonesis, I believe is what it was, back in the 90s. And Sony essentially shut them down pretty much, back then. So, you fanboys really want to play this? You really want to play this? Really? So you might want to. So before you come at people with that, you might want to do your own fucking research first. I just a tiny little suggestion there, fanboys. Just saying. So yeah. So I mean, I loved it because the reason Sony's trying to block this deal because they do not want competition. They do not want a world where Xbox is actual legitimate, competitor. They like the Microsoft, they'll essentially, floundering left and right for years, all last generation. That's the kind of type of competition from Xbox they wanted. They want, I should say. They don't want a Microsoft that is all in on gaming as they are. Like, with Satya saying that, if that doesn't tell you that they're all in, and I mean they are all in on gaming, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, others have said it. Like, I don't think Sony wants to do first-person shooters again after their previous efforts have flopped, because I know Killzone Shadowfall apparently was very mediocre, and that was their last first-person shooter that one of PlayStation Studios actually make. Shit, now that they have Bungie, how about you stop relying on Call of Duty so much, Sony, and actually make your own competitor to Call of Duty? So just saying. But it seems that they don't want to. They just want to, essentially money hack content for Call of Duty. So, they've been doing ever since Black Ops 3, if I remember correctly. Because before, Microsoft did that in the 360 generation for the first two. of the Xbox One generation, where I believe it was like maps for like a month that Xbox players would get first. But now it's the other way around. But even Sony took it a step further because there's often exclusive modes now, as we all know. So it's very not. I have to say, like, man, I'm loving all this drama with this whole deal. It's pretty entertaining to watch. Executives at Microsoft and Sony go back and forth. Kind of give us a a little look into the console wars behind the scenes, where they act like they're all nice, in public, but in reality, behind the scenes, when it comes to like business moves, like they are, it is indeed the console wars. They just don't show it in public, but especially not to this degree. My initial thinking is that this would have been over by now, and it would have been just stayed behind the scenes, closed doors, like we all thought it would be. But that is until Jim Ryan opened his big mouth, and then Phil and Satya responded in kind. So it's back and forth, and I love it because it's pretty hilarious. It's very entertaining. So these comments by Satya, essentially, to sum it up in a nutshell, is Sony needs to grow a set and man up, and actually, and yeah, if this is all about competition like Satya, let them compete. That's what this is really all about. And Sony does not want Microsoft to be fully on gaming and compete at their level. It's funny because Microsoft's doing a giant ass money hat that Sony's been doing, but Microsoft's been doing it on a much bigger level. So, and COD's gonna remain multi-platform for a while anyway, so I don't see why this is such a big deal. Personally, I don't give a shit about Call of Duty mostly, but, that's just me. So, but it is it's pretty hilarious to see, all this drama over one IP. But I get why, though, because Call of Duty is such a huge moneymaker. I get it. I don't care for it, but, again, like I said, but, it's just hilarious to see these executives go back and forth. What's next? The Sony CEO is going to make a statement now about this? I love it. I guess just keep it going, man. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. So, I think that's all I gotta say on this. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit the like button. And consider hitting that sub button on the way up. Help out the show. And I will see you all in the next video. Till then, have a good one.